to the bone of a cold climate, how it maketh man a slave. He must have shelter and food with fierce toil. Yet thereby he becomes strong against the elements, and his moral force waxeth, so that he is master of such men as live in lands of sun, where bodily needs are excel in speed or in battle. How he denieth himself the food he craveth, and all pleasures natural to him, putting himself under
2.5 times the U.S. population, which would cover like Europe and parts of Asia and the whole U.S. Still $8 trillion. Anybody would like to show me any pharmaceutical company today that's worth $8 trillion? Anybody? The cure for cancer, or selling medications that don't fucking work or halfway work. Which one's more lucrative? I would think selling cancer treatments for $1,000 that fucking can cure cancer. And if somebody gets cancer again, maybe then they fucking keep retreating it. Like, what the fuck, bro?
I get it, man. I get it. But if you gotta if some company came out with a cure for the common cold, they'd be the richest company, right? And they say that shit. But that's just not how our system works. Like I said, we can go back to tech.
Seems like that's how we're starting.
Hewlett Packard was the first company to do it. HP, remember HP computers? They were in the fucking engineering. They were making these things literally like shit out, prematurely. They were the first company to start doing it. Apple was doing it with their phones. Now all these companies that are, own vehicles, Dodge is doing it. Chrysler with their group, Stellantis. General Motors, from the manufacturer, from like the dealers, or from the, they want you to bring it to the dealership, man. This shit is planned obsolescence.
Matt, are you
designed for you to keep on coming back. And the same with the medical industry. They're not going to fix your problem. They're going to make sure you keep on coming back, bro. Put a Band-Aid on.
If they could sell something to every person on Earth for just $1,000 is $8 trillion. So even if you just treat the people who get cancer every year, which is probably like 800 million people, and then they charge $10,000, like I said, it's still $8 trillion that you could charge for it. Like, this is insane. That you'd be like, oh no, they just want to keep everybody sick forever, and they just want to keep treating it. Like, but they're not worth $8 trillion today.
Listen, man, you think I came up with this theory? I've witnessed what's happening in our system.
That's
all right? Dude, it's
$1 million.
It's not what you would rather do. It's what the system is, man. I'm
asking if you're the one running Pfizer, right? And somebody says, listen, we can keep treating the symptoms, and a bunch of people are going to die, and our company would be worth $200 billion, which is probably like, I'm guessing Pfizer's worth a couple $100 billion. Or we could come out with a treatment tomorrow and we could make $8 trillion. Well, what are you going to do as the owner of the company?
Well, I get that. We're going to have to do that. Think about this, man. Let me give you a scenario here. Let me give you a scenario here. This is the same thing I'm going to ask you this. If a company can make, a cheap vehicle worth $25,000, that's what it costs you to buy a nice vehicle.
You didn't answer what you would do.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
Just answer the question what you would do.
You can't.
Why are you going to another subject?
Because in a scenario,
answer, bro. Now you can treat diabetes, and you can cure everybody from ever having diabetes. That's another $8 trillion. Now you can cure the common cold. That's another $8 trillion.
So you
can cure fucking heart disease. That's another $8 trillion. What are you gonna do? You gonna make $100 trillion, or are you just gonna be like, nah, we just stay at a couple $100 billion and just keep treating shit that doesn't solve the problem? I'm gonna take that mRNA and I'm gonna treat everything, make hundreds of trillions of dollars.
And if you fix the issue and it's gone, how was that?
You're gonna be worth hundreds of trillions of dollars. What's the matter?
Yeah, but there's hundreds of trillions of dollars that last forever. There's hundreds of trillions of dollars. Listen to me, you goofy person. In a business model, you want to make sure you have customers. You want to make sure that it's sustainable. You want to make sure that you sustain that customers. You don't just fucking.
Jesus Christ.
You want a sustainable business model that makes sure you keep on customers.
You can
the harsh order of a trainer. So by this bondage he hath, at the last, his will. Now then the one by natural and the other by voluntary restriction have come each to greater liberty. This is also a general law of biology, for all development is structuralization. That is a limitation and specialization of an originally indeterminate protoplasm, which latter may therefore be called free in the definition of a pedant. There shall be no property in human flesh. Every man and every woman has the right indefeasible to give the body for the enjoyment of the other. The exercise of that right shall not be punished either by law or by custom. There shall be no penalty either by loss or curtailment of liberty, of rights, of wealth, or of social esteem, but this freedom shall be respected of all, seeing that it is the right of the bodily will. For this same reason thou shalt cause full restriction and punishment of any who may seek to limit that freedom for the sake of his own profit or desire or ideal. Every man and every woman has full right either to grant or to deny the body as the will speaketh within. This being made custom the evils of law, which are made, extending to the disturbance not only of body but of mind, and that in obscure paths shall little by little disappear from the face of his unspeakable glory. There shall be no property in human thought. Let each think as he will concerning the universe, but let none seek to impose that thought upon another by any threat of penalty in this world or any other world. Look now, though I enkindle thee to effort in thy way, yet it is the way of thy will, and I say not even that thou dost well to haste therein, for the whole matter lieth in thy will, and to force thyself against thy nature would be an obstacle to thy passage. But if I urge thee to run well this race as an athlete, it is because I have perceived in thy nature an immense lust and mighty concentration at will. And I write this letter unto thee, knowing well that thou wilt rejoice exceedingly therein, since it is an expression of thine own will, and it may be a discovery of which thing thou vehemently seekest. I charge thee therefore that thou permit none to tyrannize any other in thought, or to threaten, or in any other wise to blaspheme the great liberty of our Father, the Son, in the great cosmos, or of his viceregent in the little. There shall be no property, every woman thought. Let each think as he will concerning the universe, but let none seek to impose that thought upon another by any threat of penalty in this world or any other world. Look now, though I enkindle thee to effort in thy way, yet it is the way of thy will, reason of the ignorance of their own true wills. Therefore, as this wisdom of mine increaseth among mankind, the false will to crime must become constantly more rare. Also, the exercise of our freedom will cause men to be born with less and ever less affliction from that disease of spirit which breedeth these false wills. But in the while of waiting for this perfection, thou must by law assure to every man a means of satisfying his bodily and his mental needs, leaving him free to develop any superstructure in accordance with his will, and protecting him from any that may seek to deprive him of these vertebral rights. There shall be therefore a standard of satisfaction, though it must vary in detail with race, climate, and other such conditions. And this standard shall be based upon a large interpretation of facts, biological, physiological, and the like. Do not think then that by non-action thou dost follow the way of the Tao, for thy nature is action. And by hindering the discharge of thy potential, thou dost perpetuate and aggravate distress. If thou ease not nature, she will bring thee to disease free. Therefore, every function of thy body and of every other part of thee according to its true will. This also is most necessary, that thou discover thy true will in every case. For thou art born into disease, where are many false and perverted wills, monstrous, gross, parasites, vermin are they, adherent to thee by ways of the ordinance thereof, and for their recording, evil trading, and of all these things the subtlest and most terrible, enemies without pity, destructive to thy will, and of menace and tyranny, even to thyself are ideas and standards of the slave gods, false religion, false ethics, even false science. Consider, my son, that word in the hierarchy of the dirty of this. Behold the face of your God, the beginning of comfort, whose eyes are the brightness of the heavens, which provided you for the government of the earth, and her unspeakable variety. And again, let there be no creature upon her or within her the same. All her members, let them differ in their qualities, and let there be no creature equal with another. Here also is the voice of true science crying aloud, variation is the key of evolution. Thereunto cometh the third, perceiving beauty in the harmony of the diverse. Know then, O my son, that all laws, all systems, all customs, all ideals and standards which tend to produce uniformity, being in direct opposition to nature's will to change and to develop through variety, are accursed. Do thou with all thy might of manhood strive against these forces, for they resist change, which is life, and thus they are of death. Say not in finest that such stagnations are unity, even as the last victory of thy free will is unity for thy will. Move up through free function according to its particular nature, to the end of the solution of all complexities. And we have fears and standards are attempts to happy, and that way alone to be some certain ideal be upon thy path. Yet for Consider the bond of a cold cremate, how it maketh man a slave. He must have shelter and food with fierce toil. Yet thereby he becomes strong against the elements, and his moral force waxeth, so that he is master of such men as live in lands of sun where bodily needs are satisfied without struggle. Consider also him that willeth to excel in speed or in battle, how he denieth himself the food he craveth, and all pleasures natural to him, putting himself under the harsh order of a trainer. So by this bondage he hath at the last his will. Now then the one by natural, and the other by voluntary restriction have come each to greater liberty. This is also a general law of biology, for all development is structuralization, that is, a limitation and specialization of an originally indeterminate protoplasm, which latter may therefore be called free in the definition of a parent. There shall be no property in human flesh. Every man and every woman have right indefeasible to give the body for the enjoyment of any other. The exercise of that right shall not be punished by law or by custom. There shall be no liberty either by loss or curtailment of liberty or rights of wealth or social esteem. But this freedom shall be respected of all. See that it is the right of the body. Will for this same reason thou shalt cause full restriction and punishment of any who may seek to limit that freedom for the sake of his own profit or desire or ideal. Every man and every woman hath full right either to grant or to deny the body, as the will speaketh within. This being made custom, the evils of love, which are many, extending to the disturbance not only of body but of mind, and now in obscure paths, shall little by little disappear from the face of his unspeakable glory. Though that on the trial of mine in both I shall right to be concerning children, for herein is the 40 and old in a whole rope of wisdom, and it may not be severed by sword, no, not of a greater than Alexander the two-horned, and it is a balance like that of the egg and the violence ever Columbus will but crack the tender shell which we must first of all preserve. Now sentinel to this fortress standeth a certain paradox of general application, and in this large order I will declare it, so that its particular sense may enlighten thy mind hereafter. And this is the paradox, that there are bonds which led to slavery, and bonds which led to freedom. All we are bound in many fetters by environment, and it is for ourselves in great part to determine whether they shall enslave us or emancipate us. And I will make clear this thesis to thee by the way of illustration. now. The lion kindle thee to burden thy way. It is the way of thy will, and I say not even that thou dost well to haste therein. For the whole battle lieth in thy will, and to force thyself against thy nature would be an obstacle to thy passage.
But if I urge thee to run well this race as an athlete, it is because I have perceived in thy nature that fierce, lust, and mighty concentration in that will. And I write this letter unto thee, knowing well that thou wilt rejoice exceedingly therein, since it is an expression of thine own will, and it may be discovery thereof, which thing thou fervently seekest. I charge thee therefore that thou permit none to tyrannize any other in thought, or to threaten, or in any other wise to blaspheme the great deity of our Father, the Son, and the great cosmos, or of his, the Sergeant. In the little.
Of the priests of mankind, do so by reason of their ignorance of their own true will. Therefore, as this wisdom of mine increaseth among mankind, the false will to crime must become constantly more rare. Also, the exercise of our freedom will cause men to be bored with less and ever less. Affliction from that disease of spirit which breedeth these false wills, but in the while of waiting for this perfection, thou must by law assure to every man a means of satisfying his bodily and his mental needs, leaving him free to develop any superstructure in accordance with his will, and protecting him from any that may seek to deprive him of these vertebral rights. There shall be, therefore, a standard of satisfaction, though it must vary in detail with race, primate, and other such conditions. And this standard shall be based upon a large interpretation of facts, biological, physiological, and the like. Do not think then that by non-action thou dost follow the way of the town, for thy nature is action, and by hindering the discharge of thy potential thou dost perpetuate and aggravate the stress. If thou ease not nature, she will bring thee to disease free. Therefore, every function of thy body and of every other part of thee, according to its true will. This also is most necessary that thou discover that true will in every case, for thou art born into disease, where are many false and perverted wills, monstrous growths, parasites, vermin are they adherent to thee by vice of heredity or of environment or of evil training. And of all these things, the subtle
brutalist and most terrible, enemies without pity, destructive to thy will, and a menace and tyranny, even to thyself. All the ideas and standards of the slave gods, false religion, false ethics, even false science. Consider, my son, that word in the colloquy of the 30 elders. Behold the face of your God, the beginning of comfort, whose eyes are the brightness of the heavens, which provided you for the government of the earth, and her unspeakable loyalty. And again, let there be no creature upon her or within her, saying, all her members, let them differ in their qualities, and let there be no creature equal with another. Here also is the voice of true science, crying aloud, delusion is the key of evolution. Thereunto art cometh the third, perceiving beauty in the harmony of the diverse. Know then, O my son, that all laws, all systems, all customs, all ideas, and standards which tend to produce uniformity, being in direct opposition to nature's will to change and to develop through variety, are accursed. Do thou, with all thy might of manhood, strive against these forces, for they resist change, which is life, and thus they are of death. Say not in kindness that such stagnations are unity, even as the last victory of thy free will is unity, for thy will moveth through free function according to its particular nature, to the end of dissolution of our complexities. And the ideas and standards are attempts to halt thee on that way. Although for thee some certain ideal be upon thy path, yet for thy neighbor it may not be so. Set all men a horseback, thou speedest the foot soldier upon his way indeed. But what hast thou done to the birdman? Thou must have simple laws and customs to express the general will, and so prevent the tyranny or violence of a few, but multiply them not. Now then herewith I will declare unto thee the limits of the civil law upon the rock of the law of the Lima. They stand first at the disturbance of the peace of mankind. Do so by reason of their ignorance of their own true wills. For as this wisdom of mine increases among mankind, the false will to crime must become constantly more rare. Also, the exercise of our freedom will cause men to be born with less and ever less. Affliction from that disease of spirit which breedeth these false wills. But in the while of waiting for this perfection, thou must by law assure to every man a means of satisfying his bodily and his mental needs, leaving him free to develop any superstructure in accordance with his will, and protecting him from any that may seek to deprive him of these vertebral rights. There shall be therefore a standard of satisfaction, though it must vary in detail with race, climate, and other such conditions. And this standard shall be based upon a large interpretation of facts biological, physiological, and the like. Do not think that by non-action thou dost fall away on a tower, for thy nature is action, and by hindering the discharge of thy potential, thou dost perpetuate and aggravate the stress. If thou ease not nature, she will bring thee to disease free. Therefore, every function of thy body and of every other part of thee, according to its true will. This also is most necessary, that thou discover thy true will in every case. For thou art born into disease, whereon many false and perverted wills, monstrous, gross, parasites, vermin are they, adherent to thee by vice of heredity, or of environment, or of evil training. And of all these things, the subtlest and most terrible, enemies without pity, destructive to thy will, and a menace and tyranny, even to thyself, are the ideals and standards of the slave gods, false religion, false ethics, even false science! Consider, my son, that word in the call or key of the 30 ethers. Behold the face of your God, the beginning of comfort, whose eyes are the brightness of the heavens, which provided you for the government of the earth, and her unspeakable variety. And again, let there be no traitor upon her, or within her the same. All her members, let them differ in their qualities, and let there be no creature equal with another. Here also is the voice of true science, crying aloud, the nation is the key of evolution. Root to art cometh the third, perceiving beauty in the harmony of the diverse. Know then, O my son, that all laws, all systems, all customs, all ideals and standards which tend to produce uniformity, being in direct opposition to nature's will to change and to the thought their variety, are accursed. Do thou with all thy might of manhood strive against these forces, for they resist not change. But 'tis life, and thus they are of death. Unity! and the ideals and standards are attempts to halt thee on that way. Although for thee some certain ideal be upon thy path, yet for thy neighbor it may not be so set on men a horseback. Thou speedest the foot soldier upon his way.
But what hast thou done to blind men? Thou must have simple laws and customs to express the general will, and so prevent the tyranny or violence of a few, but multiply them not.
Well then herewith, I will declare unto thee the limits of the civil law upon the rock of the law of the Lima.
Consider the bond or a cold climate, how it maketh man a slave. He must have shelter and food with fierce toil, yet thereby he becomes strong against the elements, and his moral force waxeth, so that he is master of such men as live in lands of sun, where bodily needs are satisfied without struggle. Consider also him that willeth to excel in speed or in battle, how he denieth himself the food he craveth, and all pleasures natural to him, putting himself under the harsh order of a trader, so by his bondage he hath, at last, his will. Now then the one by natural, and the other by voluntary restriction have come each to greater liberty. This is also a general law of biology, for all development is structuralization, that is, a limitation and specialization of an originally indeterminate protoplasm, which latter may therefore be called free in the definition of a pedant. They shall be no property in human flesh. Every man and everyone have rights in dignities alone to give the money for the enjoyment of any other. The exercise of that right shall not be punished by law. Allow my wisdom. There shall be no penalty either by loss or curtailment of liberty, of rights, of wealth, or of social esteem, but this freedom shall be respected of all, seeing that it is the right of the bodily will. For the same reason thou shalt cause full restriction and punishment of any who may seek to limit that freedom for the sake of his own profit or desire, or ideal. Every man and every woman has full right either to grant or to deny the body, as the will speaketh within. This being made custom, the evils of love, which are many, extending to the restorance not only of body, but of mind, and that the obscure cause shall little by little disappear from the face of his unspeakable glory. This is free, be human bones. Let his think as he will concerning all of us. But let not seek to impose that thought upon another by any threat of penalty in this world or any other. Look now, though I kindle thee to effort in thy way, yet it is the way of thy will, and I say not even that thou dost well to haste therein, for the whole matter rieth in thy will, and to force thyself against thy nature would be an obstacle to thy passage. But if I urge thee to run well this race as an athlete, it is because I have perceived in thy nature that fierce participation in that will. And I write this letter unto thee, knowing well that thou wilt rejoice exceedingly therein, since it is an expression of thine own will, and it may be a disguise, which thing thou vehemently seekest, I charge thee, therefore that thou permit not to tyrannize any other in thought, or to threaten, or in any other wise to blaspheme the great liberty of our Father, the Son, in the great cosmos, or of his disregent in the little. Patient freedom of Nazi, the hero of yours. Let each day as he will concerning words. Let none seek to impose that thought upon another by any threat of penalty in this world or any other. Understand, first of the servers of the peace of mankind do so by reason of their ignorance of their own true wills. Therefore, as this wisdom of mine increaseth among mankind, the false will to crime must become constantly more rare. Also, the exercise of our freedom will cause men to be born with less and ever less affliction from the disease of spirit which breedeth these false wills. But in the while of waiting for this perfection, thou must by law assure to every man a means of satisfying his bodily and his mental needs, leaving him free to develop any superstructure in accordance with his will, and protecting him from any that may seek to deprive him of these vertical rights. There shall be therefore a standard of satisfaction, though it must vary in detail with rank and other such conditions. And this standard shall be based upon a large interpretation of facts, biological, physiological, and then do not think then that by non-action thou dost follow the way of the tongue, for thy nature is action, and by hindering the discharge of thy potential thou dost perpetuate and aggravate the stress. If thou ease not nature, she will bring thee to disease free. Therefore every function of thy body and of every other part of thee according to its true will. This also is most necessary, that thou discover the true will in every case. For thou art born into dis-ease, whereof many false and perverted wills, monstrous growths, parasites, vermin are they, adhering to thee by vice of your lady, of infirmity, or of evil training. And all these things the subtlest and most terrible, enemies without pity, destructive to thy will, and a menace and tyranny even to thyself, all the ideals and standards of the slave gods. False religion, false ethics, even false science. And again, let there be no creature upon her or within her the same, All her members let them differ in their qualities, and let there be no creature equal with another. Here also is the voice of true science, crying aloud, delineation is the key of evolution. The root to art cometh the third, perceiving beauty in the harmony of the diverse. Know then, O my son, that all laws, all systems, all customs, all ideals and standards which tend to produce uniformity, being in direct opposition to nature's will to change and to develop through variety, are accursed. Do thou with all thy might of manhood strive against these forces, for they resist change, which is life, and thus they are of death. For thy will moveth through free function, according to its particular nature, to that end of dissolution all complexities, and the ideals and standards are attempts to halt thee on that way. Although for thee some certain ideal be upon thy path, yet for thy neighbor it not be so. Set on men a horseback, thou speedest the foot soldier upon his way indeed. But what hast thou done to the birdman? Thou must have simple laws and customs to express the general will, and so prevent the tyranny or violence of a few, but multiply them not. Now then, herewith I will declare unto thee the limits of the civil law upon the rock of the law of the Lima.
Consider the bond of a cold client, how it maketh man a slave. He must have shelter and food with fierce toil, yet thereby he becomes strong against the elements, and his moral force waxeth, so that he is master of such men as live in lands of sun, where bodily needs are satisfied without struggle. Consider also him that willeth to excel in speed or in battle, how he beneath himself the food he craveth, and all pleasures natural to him, putting himself under the harsh order of a trainer, so by this bondage he hath at the last his will. Now then the one by natural, and the other by voluntary restriction have come each to greater liberty. This is also a general law of biology, for all development is structuralization. That is, a limitation and specialization of an originally indeterminate protoplasm, which latter may therefore be called free in the definition of a penny.
Indivisible to give the body for enjoyment of any other. The exercise of that right shall not be punished either by law or by custom. There shall be no penalty either by loss. No liberty of rights of wealth. Social need, but this freedom shall be respected of all, seeing that it is the right of the bodily will. For the same reason thou shalt cause full restriction and punishment of any who may seek to limit that freedom for the sake of its own profit or desire or ideal. Every man and every woman has full right either to grant or to deny the body. As the will speaketh within, this being made custom, the evils of love, which are many, extending to the disturbance not only of body but of mind, when obscure parts shall wriggle their limbs into fear for the face of his unspeakable glory. But on the side of my own bowels, how shall I write to thee concerning children? For herein is the Gordian knot in our whole rope of wisdom, and it may not be severed by sword. No, not of a greater than Alexander the Two-Horned, and it is a balance like that of the egg, and the violence of a Columbus will but crack the tender shell, which we must first of all preserve. Now, sentinel to this fortress standard, a certain paradox of general application, and in its large order I will declare it, so that its particular sense may enlighten my mind hereafter. And this is the paradox, that there are bonds which lead to slavery, and bonds which lead to freedom. Oh, we are bound in many fetters by environment, and it is for ourselves in great part to determine whether they shall enslave us or emancipate us. And I will make clear this thesis to thee by the way of illustration.
There shall be no property in human flesh. Let each think as he will concerning the universe. But let not seek to impose their thoughts upon another by any threat of penalty in this world or any other world.
Though I enkindle thee to effort in thy way, it is the way of thy will. And I say not that thou dost well to ace therein. Who not a light in thy will, and to cross thyself against thy nature would be an obstacle to thy passage. But if I urge thee to run well this race as an athlete, it is because I have perceived in thy nature fierce lust of mastery. Concentration in the will. And I write this letter unto thee, knowing well that thou wilt rejoice exceedingly therein, since it is an expression of thine own will. And it may be discovering this law, which thing will feel when I see this. of his vicegerent in the little.
Understand the trees that the disturbers of the peace of mankind do so by reason of their ignorance of their own true wills. Therefore, as this wisdom of mine increaseth among mankind, the false will to crime must become constantly more rare. Also, the exercise of our freedom will cause men to be born with less and ever less affliction from that dis-ease of spirit which breedeth these false wills. But in the while of waiting for this perfection, thou must by law assure to every man a means of satisfying his bodily and his mental needs, leaving him free to develop any superstructure in accordance with his will, and protecting him from any that may seek to deprive him of these vertebral rights. There shall be therefore a standard of satisfaction, though it must vary in detail with race, climate, and other such conditions. And this standard shall be based upon a large interpretation of facts biological, physiological, and the like.
Do not think then that by non-action thou dost follow the way of the Tao, for thy nature is action, and by hindering the discharge of thy potential thou dost perpetuate and aggravate the stress. If thou ease not nature, she will bring thee to dis-ease. Free. Therefore, every function of thy body and of every other part of thee, according to its true will. This also is most necessary, that thou discover that true will in every case, for thou art born into dis-ease. There are many false and perverted wills, monstrous grooves, parasites, vermin are they, adherent to thee by vice of heredity, or of environment, or of evil training. And of all these things, the subtlest and most terrible, enemies without pity, destructive to thy will, and a menace and tyranny, even to thyself, are the ideals and standards of the slave gods. False religion, false ethics, even false science.
Consider my son, that word in the palm, or key of the 30th verse. Behold the face of your God, the beginning
crying aloud. The nation is the key of evolution. The room to art cometh the third, perceiving beauty in the harmony of the diverse. Know then, O my son, that all laws, all systems, all customs, all ideals and standards which tend to produce uniformity, being in direct opposition to nations' will to change and to develop through variety, are accursed. Do thou, with all thy might of manhood, strive against these forces, for they resist change, which is life, and thus they are of death. Say not! That such stagnations are unity, even as the last victory of thy free will is unity. For thy will moveth through free function, according to its particular nature, to the end of dissolution of all complexities. And the ideals and standards are attempts to hold thee on the way. Although to thee some certainty of being on thy path, yet, remember, it may not be so set all men are horseback. Thou speedest the foot soldier upon his way indeed. But what hast thou done to the bird man? Thou must have simple laws and customs to express the general will. And so prevent the tyranny or violence of a few, but multiply them not!
That stand first up into service of the peace of mankind, do so by reason of their ignorance of their own true wills. Therefore, as this wisdom of mine increaseth among mankind, the false will to crime must become constantly more rare. Also, the exercise of our freedom will cause men to be born with less and ever less affliction from that disease of spirit which breedeth these false wills. But in the while of waiting for this perfection, thou must by law assure to every man a means of satisfying his bodily and his mental needs, leaving him free to develop any superstructure in accordance with his will, and protecting him from any that may seek to deprive him of these vital rights. There shall be therefore a standard of satisfaction that must vary in detail with race, climate, and other such conditions. And this standard shall be based upon a large interpretation of facts, biological, physiological, and the like. Do not think then that by non-action thou dost follow the way of the tongue. For thy nature is action, and by hindering the discharge of thy potential thou dost perpetuate and aggravate the stress. If thou ease not nature, she will bring thee to disease free. Therefore every function of thy body and of every other part of thee, according to its true will. This also is most necessary, that thou discover the true will in every case. For thou
into disease. Where are many false and perverted wills, monstrous growths, parasites vermin are they, and errant to thee by vice of heredity, or of environment or of evil training. And of all these things, the subtlest and most terrible, enemies without pity, destructive to thy will, and a menace and tyranny, even to thyself, are the ideals and standards of the slave gods. False religion, false ethics, even false science. Consider, my son, that word in the core key of the 30 ethers. Behold the face of your God, the beginning of comfort, whose eyes are the brightness of the heavens, which provided you for the government of the earth and her unspeakable variety. And again, let there be no creature upon her or within her the same. All her members, let them differ in their qualities, and let there be no creature equal with another. Here also is the voice of true science, crying aloud, Dios is the key of evolution, the root in which guided the blood, perceiving beauty and the harmony of a diverse. No device, all laws, all systems, all customs, all ideals and standards were still shown uniformly, being in direct opposition to nature's rapid change. And to develop through variety are accursed. Do thou with all thy might of manhood strive against these forces, for they resist change, which is life, and thus they are of death. Say not, in thine est, that such stagnations are unity, even as the last victor of thy true will is unity. For thy will moveth through free function, according to its particular nature, to the end of dissolution of all complexities. And the ideals and standards are attempts to hold thee on the prey. Although for thee some certain ideals be upon thy path, yet for thy neighbor it may not be so. That all men are horseback. Thou speaks the foot soldier on his way indeed. But what hast thou done to the bird? Thou must have simple laws and customs to express the general will. And so prevent the tyranny of violence from few, but laws of blood and not. Now then, herewith I will declare to thee the names of the small, of the large, of the
That's a neurotropic, dude. Like, what is your deal? Do you still do methamphetamine?
I do.
Yeah, you do. By the looks of your pictures, bro. See, I'm like 210 pounds, dude. 6 foot. You're like 120 pounds.
You 210, and I would still catch a fade with you, and I would still give you these hands, nigga.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
First you gotta
snort a bunch of PCP.
I'll still give you these hands, man. You 210, and I bet you I'll still make you fall, nigga.
Bro, listen, what's sad about you is that you're running at like an 80 IQ. And I can tell because you're saying Bima is saying good words. Oh, Bima just saying gospel. You're
God, bro, I felt the Holy Spirit running through my soul.
If you're feeling the Holy Spirit as Carmelo Anthony's getting fucked in the ass as we speak in prison, are you feeling that?
He's not getting
Hey, about the.
Yeah, as we speak, we're getting banged in the ass. But are you feeling that in the Holy Spirit?
I want to respond.
You do feel bad,
Bro.
Yeah, what's it? Mounted. No, be
fucking delusional, bro.
Mountain. You talk about someone's IQ when he told you he's trolling you, and you're still talking to him as if though he's being real. Why don't you stop?
So Edward, whose IQ is really low?
I mean,
No. This motherfucker, bro, has been trying to fucking move for a while.
My last 3 minutes, I wasn't trolling though.
That old methylene blue thing, bro. Look it up yourself.
I wasn't trolling the last 3 minutes.
I
I just need to clarify that the last 3 minutes I was not trolling.
I wasn't either, bro.
I will put these bitches to your face. 210
well,
or not.
guess what?
I
live in Montana, bro. I will fucking give you
I'm
these
not
things,
coming
bro.
to Montana, bro.
And when I give you my elbow, you're eating.
I'm not coming to Montana, bro.
Okay.
So don't go crying to your non-existent mama, okay?
Okay,
I'm in Cleveland, though. If you ever want to shoot your way out there.
No. Okay, guys, listen. Bima already told us that she doesn't want us having any physical, altercation. So let's not get physical.
I'll knock that nigga's teeth out his mouth.
That's he has to initiate aggression first.
Yeah, I'll knock the few teeth you have left.
Yeah,
I live in fucking Missoula, Montana, bro. You want to fucking fight, bitch?
I'll pistol with you.
You know skinny niggas die, bro. You know skinny niggas die in the hood, bro.
I'm telling you,
You know skinny niggas die in the hood.
You know
You know skinny niggas die, bro. You know skinny niggas die. You're fucking retarded, bro. You are a broke bitch nigga. You already got problems.
Hey, you stay in your 98% Caucasian populated state,
bro.
Because you know that's the only place you safe, nigga.
Yeah.
You can't go
fucking
anywhere else
with a bunch of retards, bro.
You know better, nigga.
You're with a bunch of hoods and with retards.
You know better, gang.
Nobody wants to be a...
All right, guys, settle down. Peter, you should be on this. You should have stopped this fighting. Bad boy, Peter.
Wait, so I wanted to.
Everybody a bitch with a green
He knows better. That's why
You're afraid of your own fucking friends,
in
bro.
Montana, nigga. You know
You're afraid of your friends, Timothy. That's why you hang out in Clubhouse. Even your own hood niggas,
you still rise in Montana, nigga.
your own hood nigga friends.
When you move out of Montana, let me know.
So I just want to.
Timothy, when you finally get out of your neighborhood, you little bitch.
I gotta take a shower.
Yeah, wash your ass, Bima.
I'm trying. Okay, so.
This nigga surrounds himself by nothing but crackers, but think he a tough guy, man. Fuck out of here.
Bro, you hang out with a bunch of niggers and think you're fucking tough. But no, you don't even hang out with them. You hang out with only us because you're afraid of those people. Those people would punch you out and you know it. And we would punch you out and you know it. That's why you hang out on the internet. You dirty little fucking bitch.
Let me get this out so I can wash my ass mountain, okay? Some things that you said, I wanna respond to you because I want you to think about them, okay? I do want you to think about them. Don't be offended by that, okay? But listen. So when I'm talking about the non-aggression principle, you're saying humans are. It's not saying that humans are peaceful and therefore nobody is never going to fight. Okay, it's literally the non-aggression principle saying opposite saying because we know that because of everything that you said, because human beings are capable of aggression, because we're capable of violence, because we are violent, we need a moral principle for distinguishing aggression from defense, okay, objectively. Cain killed Abel, okay, but that doesn't, if he fucking abided by that non-aggression principle, right, that wouldn't have happened. But what I'm saying is that the existence of theft, okay, doesn't refute the principle that stealing is still wrong. The fact that people
It's just like lower to the ground, like lower, like almost kind of sea level, maybe a little lower to sea level. But places like Little Haiti is kind of like it's like a hill, right? So when it floods, it does flood. It doesn't flood nearly as bad as South Beach does. So there's a lot going on, yo. There's so much going on. It's insane. I just kind of been relatively quiet about this because I'm trying to get like as much facts about it as possible, and I want to let my bias, not take hold. But yeah, we definitely gonna have rooms, and I'll definitely fill you in, Patty, all the crazy shit that's happening. And yeah, Haitians have died in these ICE detaining detention. I put a few of the names in the chat, and there's more. It's a sad thing.
So let me tell you something that's crazy. That was like, even my mom like, oh, she just needs to do I-30. Like, so my daughter's father's Haitian. His grandma lived in Haiti forever. And when the shit happened, I think it was back in 2010, she came over to the U.S. And then even with that TPS status, now mind you, the daughter, or the grandma, my daughter's grandma, is a U.S. citizen right now, Haitian citizen. She petitioned for her mother, but that I-30, from my understanding, I'm not completely versed in this because I'm not illegal. I've only heard this stuff from my daughter, my child's father. That's still not going to stop the possible being deported. And it's still not even guaranteeing her a green card. And this is a grown-ass woman that's a U.S. citizen, been in New York forever, that is trying to sponsor her. Like, from my understanding, they were saying, her TPS was just, what was the conversation? But I was saying her TPS, yeah, got it. She was here legally. But with this order, like my mom, when she was telling my mom, because she was trying to help her grandma, my mom was like, oh, do her I-30. But then she said, we've done that. Is it I-30? Am I wrong? No. Well, one of them papers, I don't know. They're still like talking about possible deportation.
Well, they have stopped like accepting asylum requests or even ruling on. I mean, basically, they've stopped doing anything that would give you legal status, pretty much. In most cases, they're slow walking everything so that they can detain people, send them back, do whatever they want to do. It is, I mean, it's a pretty. It's just a horrific policy. I don't even know what to say. America was based upon, well, forgetting slavery and things like that. America has been a land that has gained so much from immigration, right? And I just don't understand why.
Okay, well then, prove me wrong. Identify the flaw in the principle.
It's like a childlike view on the world. It's just unrealistic. It's not practical. It's silly. It's embarrassing. It's sickening. It's gross. It's wrong. It's evil. It's stupid. It's dumb. What else, Peter? Peter, what do you have to say about this? He said it was sorry. Did you hear that, Bima?
Yeah.
Hey, Lo, what do you have to say about all this? New speaker, Ayla. I know.
Hi guys, sorry. Hi. I find it interesting that people are so absolute in their perspective for what occurred. You know, it's so nuanced. It's a tragedy. So I just listen because I find it so interesting how people are dissecting like what mens rea is, when mens rea occurred. So that's all interesting to me.
Are you worried that if he gets a new trial, that he could end up with more time?
Right, and that's a possibility, right? And I just think that we always have to keep in mind, like, where this is happening. So, yeah, I'm not sure. You know, if you look at this judge's past record, yeah, that's a real possibility.
Somebody said the new judge's name was Shitty, C-H-I-T-T-Y. Shitty. That's been confirmed, but I don't know.
Yeah, Chitty, C-H-I-T-T-Y.
What a name.
Yeah. So I just think that when you're looking at these cases, I implore people to not be so absolute in the way that you're interpreting some of the fact patterns of the case. Because there's a key learning here, I think. There are some things we can learn about what happened in this tragic situation. So, yeah. I don't get how people are so solidly one way versus another because there's so many, like, it's so nuanced.
It's not. I'm generally against some.
And I agree, Alo. I actually agree with you. And that's why I'm saying that when people ask me, you know, people get frustrated with me because they're like, so was Carmelo Anthony guilty or innocent? And say, I'm not going to say he's innocent. I'm only going to say that I don't believe that he is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt because the things that the entire case is weighted on, those few seconds of those few moments of understanding what exactly he was thinking, there's the context of it. You can't say it for 100% certainty. Unless you're trying to mind read. There's no other, because all of the evidence, the activity around it doesn't lead to it being an intentional murder, like him thinking in his mind, I have the objective desire to kill and take this person's life versus I'm defending myself because there's a threat.
The objective desire.
You can never know that.
Yeah, of course you can.
I don't know if you know that 100%. I think you have a circumstance or some facts that you're given or instructed and you have to piece it together. And then they say the test is with a reasonable person, but, you know how they say, oh, you're a juror, you know, you can't really bring anything from outside into your thought process or your decision making or deliberating. I mean, the reality is you are who you are ultimately, right? That's really difficult task to ask of people. So yeah, I think where we're all struggling is, when does this become mens rea? And is this mens rea? Do we know beyond a reasonable person's understanding that mens rea has occurred? Like, it's quite nuanced. It's not so black or white. It's existing more in the gray area. So I think people, like, it's hard to go hard either way.
Did you study law?
I did.
I can tell, girl. Thanks. I wish you would talk more. You're so wonderful and refreshing.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Paula Keith to get her on stage for one.
No, it's not always a safe space. You know that. Stop.
Yeah. But I'm shocked that the prosecution agreed to that gentleman's agreement.
Same.
Because what they had on Carmelo, in my opinion, that would just really hurt his defense or whatever, like that to me would like almost cripple his case.
Wait, I think they said, okay, so can you, because the latest stuff that's come in, from what I understand, it was something that was from like 2024. Has anyone confirmed that?
Yeah, I heard that the one of the texts about licking the blood off the knife or something, that was 2024, but that morning, someone said he texted, "I'm on the verge," like that morning. So that showed like his state of mind, or it could be a window into his state of mind.
So I'm going to assume, yes, I was wondering why the gentleman's agreement. I mean, to be honest, both sides had reasons to be concerned, right? So it's going to, again, it's going to boil down to those 12 people that are listening and how this information, evokes certain emotion versus not. So again, one thing you understand about humans is that we are all unpredictable, right? So it's hard to predict how they would have deliberated if they had this information versus not. I personally think it could have been detrimental if he was going to take the option to take a stand, right? So a lot of people were saying that was like a real big faux pas, that was a huge mistake, blah, blah, blah. I'm not so certain. So again, I can't even speak in absolutes because you're dealing with humans who are listening to this and then trying to piece things together based on some set instructions given, whether or not they understand it, whether or not they're understanding what men's right. Do they have biases? Are they aware when they're deliberating the biases, or that all of that stuff comes into play?
The prosecution felt like we can get them just on the technicality of the law, and if we allow that stuff about the brothers, about them putting racial graffiti, that it would become a national sensationalized story about two racist brothers trying to, assault a black kid. Like they thought maybe that would be such a strong public interference in the case that they thought they could win just on the merits.
I mean, wasn't the brother pretty much like taken out of the whole picture?
Well,
I thought it was going to be a hard case to kind of sell because the other brother wasn't really part of the trial at all, right?
I don't know his involvement as far as the trial, but I think just the fact that they had gotten in trouble for rhyming, like, didn't they say being like that they put the N-word or something on their feet, like they got in trouble for spray painting racial slurs?
Well, specifically it was Austin. It said both of them, but I'm wondering why only Austin got in trouble for it. It was KKK, kill all black people, N-word, and some upside down cross or something like that. And it was Austin who...
For the YouTube moderators, this is a news journalism broadcast. We are analyzing the Anthony Carmelo case. Please, within context, here you go.
Wasn't Hunter surrounding Carmelo Anthony the day of the